Hello, all my favorite people! You haven't started designing your own sewing patterns because you don't know where to start, or you have been designing your own sewing patterns but just something is off every time and you don't have a system that works really well, then this video might be helpful for you. If you're constantly guessing, adding centimeters, not exactly knowing what you are doing, it turns out fine, but maybe it's not a way of creating patterns that is sustainable and will help you to become really confident in the patterns that you make. I really want for you to be able to do that. So I'm going to explain you a way on how I create all of my patterns. Really help me with being consistent and more efficient in making patterns. Today I'm going to show you a method on how to create your own patterns without second guessing everything, not adding random things, not that you hope that it turns out well, but a way that makes you confident and it turns out well. In this video I will show you how Basic Block works and why this reduces 80% of the uncertainty you have about pattern making. And yes, I talk a lot about basic blocks, but I will keep on talking about them until you understand that they are really great for pattern making. The second thing is how to reverse engineer your favorite clothes so that you have a database. Your closet will be your database. And the third thing is how to measure and check everything before you are cutting out in fabric so that you don't waste any of your nice fabrics, but that you know that everything is well and balanced. So before I start going into all of these topics, if you want to learn how to make your own basic blocks and really have the design system that gives you the confidence and the pattern mastery that you want to, I will walk you through the whole process, so this video, but then in depth, and really help you with implementing all of these techniques and all these methods, using worksheets, using your basic blocks, helping you, giving feedback on fit, design, and everything in between that. So if you're interested in that, then make sure to go to the link in the description and book a quick call with me to see if it's something that you'd like to do. That being said, let's dive into this video. Okay, first let's talk about the basic blocks. And this is what really is important to know, is that when you have your basic blocks, you already know that it works. So for example, my shoulder seam on my basic block, I made a toile of my basic block, so I already know that that is the right angle. So everything I adjust at the shoulder will make sense. I already know that it is at the right place, and if I want to make a design decision to change it to a different place and a different angle or a different width, that is a conscious decision because it already fits, and now I'm deciding that I want to change it for a different result. And here's something else that's really cool about pattern making. Everything is possible. So there are literally no rules in pattern making. You can do whatever you want. It is a design, everything is a design choice. If you don't like a bust dart here but want to add it at the neckline, then but most people say, oh, you should do it here, then do it at the neckline. If that's something that you like, then you should definitely do that. And that's where you can experiment with your basic blocks. Just see what is your specific need in a pattern, fit your desired style. Then if you have that base ready for your bodice, for your skirt, for your pants, for your dress, for your sleeve, everything is figured out up front, and everything you are going to design from there just makes a lot more sense. And the adjustments are very small, but doing them makes the basic block perfect for me. I made a full tutorial on how to make your bodice block fitted to you. I will link that in the description as well. So there you can see how I adjust it to perfectly fit me. And everything that I designed from there, notice that what I do comes from something that is already good. So if I don't make radical changes in the basic block, then it is most certainty going to turn out well. And the second thing you want to do is you're going to use your own closet as a database. And what I mean by that, you must have some pieces that you just wear on repeat. The pants that you almost never wash because you are just wearing them every day, the t-shirt that you like the fit of, something that looks flattering on your body. Those are the pieces you want in your database. So I made different documents just full of measurements from my favorite pieces, especially the things that I like about the pieces. So, and then I don't have to guess a shoulder width. I can just use one that I already know that looks good on my body, that I like, that I know that I wear a lot. If you wear something a lot, your body already knows that it works for you and you feel good in them, and using that data, those measurements, is going to be very powerful in creating your own patterns. So I just quickly wanted to go a little bit more in depth about measuring your own pieces to show you a little bit where you measure and how you can see the things and everything. So I grabbed the more basic shirt that has some fun details. Make sure that it's lying completely flat, especially the areas that you are going to measure. Then get your measuring tape. Very common things to measure and wanting to know the measurement of is your shoulder. Measure it this point towards this point. 31 centimeters, and then note that in your database. Notice that that is a done measurement. So what you also want to measure is separately, so one shoulder width, and that's 8 centimeters. But what it means, if this is 31 centimeters and this is 8 centimeters, then you also know how wide the neck would be. And that keeps everything here, from here towards here, in balance. So you know the final measurement, you know the measurement of one piece that you like the fit of, so you already know kind of what this should be. I hope that makes sense. The length you always measure from your highest shoulder point. You do that at your clothes as well as on your body. So go from here all the way down. Decide if you want to include the ruffle or not. That's 50 centimeters. I like the length of this top, so definitely going to add that to my data. And I mark like, okay, the pink flower top, and then write down all the measurements. So if I would go and create patterns, then I would have a reference like, oh, I know what it is like to wear this top. I wear that one a lot. I like the length of that top, so I'm going to use those 50 centimeters for the design I want to create right now. Another one is at the armpit, right here. That is a measurement that's used very often. And then how to measure your sleeve. You can measure it in a straight line. That's 20, or you can measure it curved and then just follow the seam. That's 21. So then you know how deep you want it to be at the front. If I like the height of this neck, then I can measure that and add that to the designs that I want a higher neckline of. So you can play around with measuring your pieces and recreating some things that you like about those to your designs. I'm also going to get a pants right now to show you how that works. Okay, this is a great example too, because I really love wearing this pants and the style of this pants, but it actually doesn't fit me that well. So if I would make a design that is something like a wide leg pants from linen fabric with an elastic waistband and pockets, then I would definitely have some references from this jeans, but I also have adjustments because I know that this one doesn't fit me that well. So what I would do then is, just add to my database, okay, brown linen pants, and then also add what I don't like about the pants. What I do like is the width of the legs. And note, you always want to measure seam to seam. So for example, the front leg is 23.5. Add that to my database. I can also, this has a wider hem, so I can measure that one and add that to my database. Don't like about this pants that it is just too big here, so I have to pin it for me to fit well. So what I would do is I would measure the waistband, that is 36.5, and then I would add that to my database like, hey, it's 36.5, but it is too wide. So I know that when I'm going to recreate this or use elements from this pants, that I definitely have to make adjustments to the waistband for it to fit me better. And then also one is the hip. The hip is the widest part of your body and also always the widest part of the piece itself. So lay it all flat, so that you know where that is. It's always above the crotch. And then measure that. 53, mark that to my database. And notice that this is only a half measurement. So for this to be a whole measurement is 52 by multiply by 2. I'd like to fold my measuring tape in half, and then you can put this around your hip to see if that's the circumference that you like. So you're really connecting dots from using your block, using your piece, and then using your common sense to literally see if this is something that you would like to put on your body. I hope this all makes a lot of sense. For the pants to have a great fit, something that's also very common or more of an issue is the crotch seam. So you can literally also measure that one. If you have a pants that you like the crotch seam of, then you can measure it front and back separately. So this one is 24, excluding the waistband. And for the back, there's always something extra here. So I measure that. That's 4 centimeters. And then I turn the pants around. Make it all flat, the whole line. I already had 4 centimeters from the front, and then I measure the rest. That is 33.5. So also for the crotch seam, I don't have to guess. I can use this as my base and yeah, recreate from there and use different styles that I like to create my database. So yeah, really use your favorite clothes as your database, because you don't have to ask what would look good. You already know that it looks good. You already know that it is comfortable. And then when you created a pattern from your basic blocks, you want to do a recheck before you're cutting it on pattern. Because designing a pattern, yes, it's based on numbers, but it's also some kind of guesswork, because the 50 centimeters at the armpit might work for this t-shirt, but if I design something else, it might be a little bit off. So yes, this is what keeps us most certain in using these techniques, but there's always some guesswork and some intuitive thinking and making up some hypothesis for, okay, if I do this, then probably this will happen, but sometimes you're just not 100% sure. So to make sure that everything lines up and everything is correctly, re-measure everything on the pattern. Re-measure your armhole, re-measure your sleeve, re-measure your length, re-measure the lengths that you are going to sew together so that they probably fit each other. Re-measure your hip, check everything double and 3 times and 4 times, and use your body for this. So if you made a pattern and your hip width that you created on the pattern is 98 centimeters, you get a measuring tape, get it, pull out 98 centimeters, make it in a round, because that's what your hip width would be, and put this around your hips. So literally just put this, get it around your hips, and see if you like that. So do I like this much ease or not? Don't see it because of my t-shirt. So do I like this type of ease, or do I want to add a bit more so that I have a little bit more? Use logical thinking and try to visualize it as much as possible, because we most certainly are visual people. So seeing the numbers doesn't always make sense to you, but seeing it on the measuring tape and then around your body, then it makes sense to you. Wow. So doing this before you are cutting into your fabric will make you even more certain that it's going to work out. So if you start with your basic blocks, use your own clothes as a database, and then recheck everything 2 times, 3 times, so that you are sure that this is something that you potentially would love wearing, then you can stop guessing and base it more on logical thinking, giving yourself a plan and some systems that help you work more efficiently, work more confidently, and create the patterns that you want based on strategically design. And you don't have to start from zero all the time, because you have your basic blocks. And if you do these 3 things every time you are going to design, is everything being said, make sure to leave a comment on what your approach is of pattern making, what your #1 takeaway was from this video. I hope it helps you with having a better understanding on how to make it easier for you to design your own patterns. Like it, subscribe if you want to see me make patterns and learn you more about these topics if you're into it, and then I will most certainly see you in my next video.